Peripheral Cortex. As you can see with this autographed poster, this band is not everybody's cup of tea. These guys are goofy, these guys are probably lots of fun in real life, and they have brought their fun into their music, also to their releases. Now this must be one of the most fascinating physical copies I've gotten for a long time, because this is once again no ordinary release. Not in music, not in format. Let's take a look. Some of you might remember PlayStation 1 games and their packaging. Well, this is exactly that. So it's not your typical jewel case, of which I should have something here in comparison. Like this being a kind of a comparison in thickness. Not only that, when I open this box, you will see that there is a classic 3.5 inch disc. You might remember these from old PC computers, but also Amiga 500 and Atari computer systems. Comes with a sticker as well, obviously the booklet, and it seems to be that this copy is one of very few. Don't know why I had the pleasure of getting this stuff here, but here it is. It's a CDR release, hand numbered it seems, and as such this is kind of a what I would call golden rainbow CD. And obviously there is this booklet, rather thin though, which includes a lot of text. One could say there are these lyrics, but they are so small of font that you probably need either a good pair of eyes, glasses, or then you will just zoom it like that. And pardon the reflection here coming from the window. Spring sun is trying so hard to ruin my video recordings here with the albums in question. Let's take a look on the band's Metal Archive site, which is right here. Found it in Germany, 2013. It's the only full-length album of the band so far, and this was already released in February. It seems that this is coming in different versions, not only CD but also digital format, and I don't know if there is gonna be a rather new reissue or other version of the CD. This isn't told to me, but anyway, here it is. This special CDR at least is available. As you can see, 34 minutes of technical death metal of sorts, and mostly being around 4 and 3 minutes as far the song lengths go. Now the music with these 4 guys over here, all handsome and stuff like that, is death metal of technical sort. And now we have to understand there are a couple of ways to define technical death metal. Sometimes it's just death metal with a lot of different layers and ideas with drums and guitars, bass, so forth. When you just kind of have this music kind of a complex, but still kind of a groovy and fast forward. And those are the bands which I think Nile would be a good example of. You know, kind of easy to get into despite of these technical levels. And then there are these bands such as Peripheral Cortex, which is all about this songman. I was saying about songwriting and musicianship. Somehow it could be a songman thing. Let's call them songmanship now for the sake of argument. Where this craft of technical metal, or technical death metal as it's the case here, is so far into the technical side, it almost is kind of a jazz. It's kind of a jazz metal, like lots of different details with guitars, drums, bass, and what have you. And these are brought to the level that it's kind of hard to get into what these guys are up to with their music. That is, the music is so complicated, so filled with different kind of ideas, that it's probably very kind of enjoyable to play that stuff. Also very hard, obviously, but lacking the kind of magnetism what is so often needed in music. Doesn't matter what genre you're talking about, we need those patterns to appeal to us, melodies, catch riffs, hooks and whatnot. Now there are people who sometimes come to me saying that, Joey, in essence, so you're looking for pop music, you want yourself
catchy melodies, easy to listen chorus parts, so-called hookiness, the kind of riff that's kind of stuck you. So why don't you hit with the pop music and let the rest of us enjoy this kind of a hard-to-grasp music? You're not up for that.
And I was like, yeah, but I also like very marginal death metal, very marginal black metal and all that stuff. Me not liking everything doesn't mean I'm all for pop music. But that's a different discussion. What I'm merely trying to point out here is that not everything that is very complex is easy to enjoy, despite the fact that I have this soft spot for very technical output. And so often I kind of want more of that, but not with the cost of the songs lacking the kind of a flow, for the lack of a better word once again, or the kind of grooviness, for the lack of the better word again, and so forth. So we have to understand that the dynamics, how things are good, need to have both good songwriting as well as the technical aspect. That is, if you want to be technical in the first place. And most metal bands are not exactly that. But Peripheral Cortex is very much approaching their stuff with this technicality in mind. And nothing wrong with that, by the way. That is, if you can handle the songs. And that is where I would draw the line with this particular release, because what often strikes me with kind of a good idea, and I'm like, yeah, now these guys are nailing it. And they're like, no, not that kind of nailing. That is, sometimes these riffs are so weird and absurd even, that the guy's goofiness comes first and the actual songwriting comes second. So what might be fun to play isn't necessarily fun to listen to. And that is where the band is kind of losing its balance, It's like tightrope walking. You want to have it so technical and so hard to make that it's not like everybody can just grab a guitar and, get those riffs going on. But once you go too far away, you kind of make these technical parts as the main purpose of the song, then you're losing the audience, because obviously people might not be enjoying your inside jokes as much as it makes them, or us, or whoever, laugh. And thus, all this being said, I kind of find God Kaiser Hell a little bit hard to enjoy. Now, surely, some of these riffs, good, magnificent, not so much. And the production is quite okay. But there are a couple of points which also annoy me, and they are sometimes single riffs here and there, which are like, don't do that, just remove that riff, it's horrible. And also those clean vocals. Come on, why? I mean, if you are Dio level of good vocals or Bruce Dickinson stuff, go ahead and do it. Unless you are not that good, and you don't have to be that good, just good. Well, go ahead and have it. But here they don't add any of value to the music, but they rather sound kind of weak. So they are one of the bigger minus points here. Also, some of those riffs, like I said, are not that good. Also, what I was kind of hoping for are girly vocals, but they're non-existent. This is more about, shouting and kind of a shrieking almost, kind of a screamy style, which are not exactly bad, but to be honest, nothing to be proud of. So what, in my opinion, this band actually lacks is a good vocalist. And while the production is pretty okay, and especially underlines that the bass is still one of the foundations of metal music, well, the production could be a lot stronger. But the main problem with this album, in my opinion, is that these songs are not too enjoyable to listen to. Individual riffs, sure. As the whole album, not so much. So, very, very tricky album. This is very much for the marginal audience. Like, if technical death metal is marginal of death metal audience, this is the marginal of technical death metal audience. And that kind of should give you an indication whether or not you should listen to this band or not. In my opinion, there's a lot of good things going on, and I don't mind the goofiness. But when the goofiness gets the better of the whole album instead of rather good songwriting, then it's too much. So once you go overboard, it's not so easy to save the situation so easily. With all this being said, I find this album rather mediocre-ish. Maybe mediocre plus if you need a clearer definition what I'm after. So, good ideas, but the whole execution not so great. With all this being said, give it a listen or don't give it a listen. It's up to you, obviously. whether you like technical death metal in the first place or not. Well, this is all from me. I'm just gonna shoot myself and move to the next album. Thank you and bye bye.